Hey y'all, this is Marley K. Want to talk to you about the shenanigans going on in politics. I don't particularly care to talk about politics anymore because I understand we live in a failed state. Everything is rigged. It's just a matter of time before the curtain goes up and you see the man behind the curtain pulling all the bells and whistles to make things go. So I just see it as futile at this point. But I do want to talk about it because I know a lot of our people are heavily vested in thinking that their vote is going to change something in this system. If we're Yasharel, we shouldn't even be concerned about voting at this point because, you know, as a lot of us already know, we're voting for the lesser of two evils. But evil is evil, and we shouldn't be voting for either. Neither party addresses issues specifically for African American Black people. We are intentionally neglected. We are intentionally overlooked. We are intentionally um, chased down and sought after so that we can either encourage people to follow us, voting for nothing so the powers can be I'm sorry, so the powers that be can do whatever it is that they want to do, or we are used as scapegoats for the other side. So if we're doing something, we're used as a political football to encourage the other side to come out and be against us. So it's just like for whatever reason, which we know why, we know what the reason is, but for whatever reason, that like every political cycle, every national election cycle, they got to do something with the Negro, you know. So this election cycle is going to be no different, but is going to be probably the most chaotic, the most disrespectful, and the most antagonistic that we have probably seen in our lifetime, probably ever. And I want to talk about it because we got all these black people, just a lot of stuff in the news right now. You got the stuff about Eric Adams and the White House turning their back on him because he basically throwing the White House under the bus. And of course, they don't like that. And then, I want to talk about this story in particular that came out an hour ago, where Cornel West says he's getting in the political race, running for president, and he's going to stay in until election day. Now, I'm gonna give you a different type of analysis that other people tend to not give, and I'll understand if you don't see it the way that I see it. A lot of people do not see it the way that I see it, but one day it's all going to come out in the wash. So I've said a long time ago that West is basically an operative. If you look at his track record, if you look at his footprint, if you look at some of the things that he said, a lot of the things that he said, and how much he's been in line with the Democratic Party, even though he knew fully well that neither party was for his people, allegedly his people. It's just really interesting that right now, at this time, at this juncture, when this nation is getting ready to fall, suddenly he decides right now, when ain't nothing nobody gonna change nothing, because the outcome has already been determined, that this Negro, they're gonna stick a Negro out there and let him be the scapegoat for why the Democrats lose, why perhaps Republicans win, or why certain segments of the population choose to give their votes to him. He's gonna be the spoiler. No matter what, black people are going to be blamed for whatever happens in this country. We are going to be scapegoated. And so, that's the takeaway. That's the overarching takeaway. West is, to me, and I don't have any proof, so don't go say I said I know. This is just my, conjecture and my personal analysis. I'm putting my tinfoil hat on. Call me crazy later. But I see him as an op. He's there to cause chaos. He's there to take away black votes from the Democratic Party so that the Democratic Party will be able to say we lost because the black man got in. And of course, the black people was going to vote for the black man. They know we ain't voting for the Democratic Party. A lot of us in mass are not voting for the Democratic Party. We're not trying to support Miss Skiwi, and we are not trying to support Papa. A lot of us didn't want Papa to begin with because he's racist. So the powers that be got to find a way to scapegoat somebody. And of course, we are the world's favorite whipping board. So, you know, he's in. He says he's going to stay in until the end. Right now, oldest Methuselah, um, he's bad as Michael Eric Dyson, in my opinion, when it comes to um, being in love with the civil rights era and um, just the raccoonery, being in the Ivy League circles. You don't go there to change anything. You go there to have your resume filled. You go there to do the bidding of the dominant society and the secret societies because that's what those institutions are for primarily. Um, So I just see it as a big joke, but our people need to wake up. Like, we need to wake up right away. There's nothing that's going to save this country. There's nothing that's going to save this um, raggedy nation. It's just not. It's got to be judged. It's going to be judged, and it's going to be judged because of us. So what we need to do is step out of the way, allow whatever's going to happen and set our eyes on the hills. We need to be crying out and looking up in the clouds because our redemption is near. And whoever wants to vote and whoever wants to continue to love this system and love this society and think that their little vote is going to save it when the outcome has already been determined, then by golly, do that. But if you on this channel, I got to give it to you like a TI is. Old Buddy Row is an op, period. And I would not be surprised if they replace Miss Skiwi with Mr. West, and they probably are still gonna lose, but they got to do something about Miss Skiwi because she's not popular at all. So they got to dump her. I would be surprised if they keep this ticket, this Paw Paw and Skiwi ticket together. But if they decide not to, I would not be surprised if they got West on the ticket or they put West with somebody who they know black folks will vote for because they need us to mock the Most High. They need us to clown ourselves and to go against our own interests because that's what the devil needs. That's what our adversary needs to make his world go round. So anytime we engage in this nonsense, it don't benefit nobody but the adversary. You can pick an adversary, but it never benefits us. So we really need to like bow out of this system as soon as possible. But anyway, let me get to this story. Cornel West, whose long shot bid, even they admit it's a long shot, for the White House as a third party candidate threatens to upset President Joe Biden's plans for reelection. They know he ain't gonna win. They know Paw ain't gonna win because everybody's sick or tired of Paw. So they gotta make up some kind of story, throw somebody under the bus, and what better people to throw under the bus than the Negroes? Said in an interview on Tuesday with USA Today that his intentions are clear. He's staying in the race until election day. West a left-wing activist and scholar, launched his campaign on Monday with low prospects for winning the presidency, but his candidacy might siphon off votes from Biden if he remains in the race until next year's general election. I plan to run till the end, West told USA Today. Absolutely. West, who is 70. So notice the pattern. We're not getting no young men. We getting old men, whether they don't care what color they are. They just old. Is to me reflective of this society. It's old. It's falling apart. It is I hate to say no longer relevant, but its time has run out. Its time has passed. These candidates that are running for office, same thing. Like, we're not getting anyone who's going to do anything different. All these people are part of the system. Look up what the People's Party is about and who funds the People's Party. And I'm going to just leave it at that. Y'all really need to follow the money when it comes to the People's Party. You'll understand both sides fund it. It's not anything different. It's not anything different. So that's the other reason why I say it's some shenanigans afoot. West, who is 70, running as a candidate for the People's Party, an independent populist movement created in 2017. A group of Vermont Senators, Bernie Sanders' supporters, including West, founded the party after growing disenchanted with the Democratic Party after the 2016 presidential election. I can't be dogmatic. I just can't foreclose the future, West said of his presidential campaign. But right now, I'm fundamentally committed to going to the end and trying to show the American people that the two-party system has become now a real impediment for focusing on the plight of poor and working people. So he's a black man, been down with us like four flat tires forever, but notice that he has to pivot and become the champion for the poor and working people, not the Negro. Like, we don't need nothing. We don't need our own advocate. We like, what happened? Why do you do that? Why? Because he's out. Anywho, West's announcement that he would run as a third party candidate, a move Sanders repeatedly refused during the last two presidential elections, drew criticism from establishment liberals. Others questioned West's decision to affiliate with the People's Party instead of a more established third party or run as an independent. Going straight in the Trump country. Even as a slew of 2024 hopefuls enter the race, West said the rapidly growing field still lacks a serious focus on the plight of the poor and working people, not the Negroes. Don't say nothing about black people. We don't need reparations. We don't need justice. We don't need whatever has been taken from us. We don't need our farmers to get their land back and be compensated for the stuff that was stolen from them or the bad seeds that they were given. Like, nothing. It's just really disheartening to see how black people just pivot to the dominant society. His campaign website advertises a broad set of issues that seemingly cater to both progressives and right-wing skeptics. Okay. West's priorities range from using hand-counted paper ballots and stopping all foreign military aid to ending mass incarceration and limiting the reach of tech companies. While his candidacy threatens to dilute Biden's vote tally, West said part of his campaign strategy will be courting voters who previously supported former President Donald Trump in 2016 to 2020. Now, he is, I just don't even know what to say. So just think about that. You got the court, the people who don't like you. It. Why do you even want to be working in the system and governing people who don't like you, who going to disrespect you, who going to try to do some harm to you. And not only just to you, because they ain't going to be able to reach out to you thanks to Secret Service and bulletproof cars. Guess who's going to be the victims? Us, those of us on the street. We're going to get it on our jobs. We're going to get it at the grocery store. We're going to get it everywhere. So, what even is the point? I'm going straight in the Trump country, West said. I'm going to meet the old white working class brothers and sisters, oh Lord, and tell them, I know they're wounded. I know their suffering is invisible, but don't follow a xenophobic Pied Piper. Now, do you hear this? He said, I'm going to meet the old white working class brothers and sisters. Now, you see how everybody got to go cater to white. That's just like saying, I have to go tend to the white people because their grievances matter. We'll take care of y'all later. But later never comes. So black people should not even be thinking about voting for nobody running for any political office, really, because at the end of the day, this nation was established for white people, by white people, and the laws and on the books, the Constitution is for white people. Otherwise, it would be for everybody, and you would be able to see that, but you can't see it because it's not so. I'm fundamentally concerned about their plight as well, he added. West is a Harvard educated, and if you know about the pipeline, the Harvard pipeline, you understand what I'm talking about. Philosopher who currently serves as a professor at Union Theological Seminary. He previously had 2 stints as a professor at Harvard before leaving the university twice, most recently in 2021 after he was denied tenure. On the campaign trail, West said he intends to argue that Trump is truly out of touch and is the out of touch candidate and intends to win the trust of Trump supporters by providing them with a different lens through which to view their suffering. So, he ain't even concerned about the Negroes trusting him because you know what? Everybody knows that we'll just do whatever. They don't have to do anything. We just automatically trust people who look like us, or we trust people who were with the Democratic Party, or we trust people who talk good, look like us, might have some wiry hair. Um, it's an indictment on foundational black people, African American black people. It has to be genuine. I can't go in arrogant and condescending to them. So he's still talking about them. Now he ain't said nothing about black people yet. He said, but I'm also very clear that I don't have 1 minute for any kind of hatred. Well, buddy, what you going there for? Because you already know what you're going to get. Outside with unorthodox views. West also addressed some of his most controversial views, including his calls to disband NATO and halt all foreign military aid. West criticized Russia's invasion of Ukraine, but also claimed that the expansion of NATO put pressure on Russia. West also discussed his recent op-ed in the Wall Street Journal, in which he praised Republican presidential candidate and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis for his defense of the Western canon in education. Really? DeSantis has come under fire from his critics for making changes to education in grade school, in colleges, and universities. In April, DeSantis administration expanded a Florida law to ban classroom instruction on sexual orientation and gender identity up to the 12th grade. Dubbing himself a jazz man in the world of politics, West said the op-ed reflected his ability to agree with someone even at the same time I have profound disagreement. Now I happen to agree with him about 2% of the time, West said of DeSantis, and 98% of the time on his attacks on critical race theory and his attacks on precious trans and his using of xenophobic issues to mobilize and polarize the population. Of course, that's just for me typically ugly right wing tactics. He ain't said nothing about a Negro yet. I'm just trying to tell you. Going after the front runners. And I know people are going to be like, oh, well, he can't say nothing about us. Why he can't say nothing about us? He could talk about white gay people. He could talk about white trans people. He could talk about white uh, uh, right wing folks. He could talk about white working class folks. But you notice he is on code with the policy of benign neglect of Black people, because you can't run for nothing. You can't get no money. You can't get no support. You can't get no TV time as long as you're still talking about doing something for us, because the policy is benign neglect. Don't do nothing for the Negro. And he's on code with that. So while you're getting all happy looking at him and, oh, he's a Black man running, he's running for this particular party, his platform is anti-Black. And that's what y'all need to take away. He's anti-Black. He's following the policies and protocols of this government, of this nation. And that is why he's dangerous. And I'm telling y'all about these Black faces in high places. They're going to be coming out everywhere. Spooks going to be running and flying and doing whatever they can, try to get their last little biscuits before the ship go down. So y'all need to keep y'all hands in y'all pocket, rock back and forth, sing old Negro spirituals, uh, and watch the ship go down. Don't be supporting no Black people who ain't supporting you. West repeatedly singled out Biden and Trump, the front runners of their respective parties, and the two candidates he expects to face in the general election. I view Trump as really moving in a neo-fascist direction, West said. Then with Biden, he's certainly better than the Republicans. Really? Oh. But when it comes to the plight of poor and working people, it's secondary and tertiary. He ain't said nothing about Negroes yet. I'm almost at the end of this doggone thing. He's still too tied to Wall Street. He's still too tied to the Pentagon with military expansion. He's still too tied to the corporate elite across the country and the world, West added. Demanding more moral substance and political courage, West blasted the Biden administration for not doing more to support the Black voters who helped elect Biden in 2020. Now, let me see what kind of help he's talking about. I'm not the kind of Black politician who is into representation, he said. So he letting you know right now, he ain't just gonna be the Black nothing. He's not representing Black people. Notice he talked about everybody before he got to Negroes at the bottom. That's where y'all at. Remember that. I'm not the kind of Black politician who is into representation, he said. You can end up with a highly multiracial team, but the team in its multiracial composition is still viewing poor and working people as afterthoughts. So you see what he's saying. Multicultural is a grift. It don't help nobody. That's what he's trying to tell you. Now we know this. Well, a lot of us don't know this, but I know this. It's just that DE and I's crap. West said he hopes his bid for president will reintroduce the U.S. to a better version of itself. Trump is not the best, West said. Biden is not the best of America. West expects to make that case while standing on the debate stage with the Democratic and Republican nominees. That's where we're headed, my brother, West said. So, if you need more proof that Cornel West is a raccoon, I don't know what to say for you. But this was a raccoon piece. And I'm sharing with you this so you won't get all tangled up in your underwears and get emotional and get into your feelings and think, oh, he's going to do blah, blah, blah. You're not going to do nothing for Black people. He is the people's candidate, everybody but the Negro. That's what he is. So, with all that said, check out of this system, people, because it's crumbling. It is falling by the day. There is nothing left for us here. Nobody's going to do anything for us. Nobody's going to save us. Nobody's going to protect us but us. We are used as political footballs for hatred, to move people because we are gifted, talented people. And for whatever reason, they like to use us because people follow us. We are leaders. We just don't understand that we are following people who do not care anything about us at all. So just check out of this system. Get it out of your mind. Get voting out of your head. Don't let nobody guilt you into talking about, oh, people died for your right to vote. No, they didn't. They just died because people in this country are wicked and they don't like black people. That's why they died. Um, Benign neglect is still in effect, and nobody is going to do anything for black people. They're going to burn this country down to the ground before they do anything for us. So stop wasting your time going to vote. Stop talking about voting. Stop listening at them talk about voting. Ask for your reparations. Get a check before they burn it down. And if they don't give it to you, wait on the Most High to give you your reparations in the kingdom, because they ain't trying to give you nothing on their own, but they're going to have to give it up. The wealth of the wicked gonna be stored for us. It's stored somewhere already. We just waiting on the gates to open up and let it drop into our hands. But who not gonna do nothing for us? None of these people running for politics. The policy is benign neglect. Understand it. If you don't know what it is, look it up. We not getting nothing. Cornel West is nothing more than a Tim Scott and anybody else running for public office in a national office. Even Miss Ski Wee, same thing. She got into office. She's talking about she went to Howard, and the first thing she did was help everybody. Still can't get her to do nothing for black people. Nobody gonna do nothing for black people. Let it go, y'all. Get peace with it. Nobody is doing nothing for black people. They run for something and it got to help everybody but black people. That is the policy of this nation. Understand it, become comfortable with it, feel good saying it, and feel good that your captivity is almost over. It's almost over, y'all. Keep praying, keep having faith, don't have no fear, understand who your enemies are, and move accordingly. I'm Molly K, and I'm out.